Hey everyone, it's Heath here, getting ready to work on the Commission, round 2. After taking a look at it over the weekend, the person I'm doing this for, Tristan, is a great guy, and I realized that there's some aspects of this I could change and improve and tweak and do, and I want this to be the best piece it can be, so I'm going to make some adjustments here as we go. Because originally today I was planning on doing flat colors on this thing, but I realized, what is it? I realized that with him, go ahead and do this. Edit, transform, focus on. So I kind of realized that in the process of flipping this around that there's certain things I could have done on this that would have made it a little bit stronger of a piece ultimately. And an old art trick is flipping the canvas around just to see what it looks like. Like, I think I'm going to fade this out a little bit. I think what I can do is not where I wanted to go. What I think I can do is move this leg out here. Yeah, maybe too far. Basically, I just want to shift the foot a little bit. Because I think it would make for a more interesting pose. And I want to make the claws holding the sword a little bit more, let's say, make the sword a little bit bigger, which honestly I could probably just do that, but I think if I did a couple of little tweaks I could actually make pretty significant changes to this. And I'll also say this at the beginning here, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow me. I'm on Instagram as Art of HF. I'm also on Facebook. I have a page there, facebook.com/artofhf. I'm also on Twitch as Heathosaurus Art, so Heath Asaurus, Asaurus Art. Oh, hey buddy, welcome back, tuning in. Good to see you. I know it's early as heck in the morning for you, so I appreciate you tuning back in, man. I was just telling everyone I was going to make some tweaks. Nothing big, but I want this to be as good of a piece as it can be, and I feel like it was close to that, but I think there's still some tweaks that need to happen to be able to do that. I feel like making the head a little bit smaller would be one of those. Yeah. I think a slightly smaller head will make him seem bigger and more intimidating. I think shifting the leg will power his stance, and I think moving the sword will help the balance. And it'll give me a chance to make the sword bigger. Something we talked about on the stream last time. Nice. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to notch that down to like 10%. Just so I have an idea of where I'm working with. What, I'm gonna just cut it off here. Just maybe a little bit bigger. Yeah. I feel like his head was so cartoonishly big that it kind of started taking away from the overall scale of it. Oh yeah, and change the buckle so it doesn't look like a diver's helmet. That's right. This can come around, and then honestly, we'd probably see that there. So I'll erase this out. This Twitch now brought to you with audio tweaks. Alright, so here's... This part's going to be complicated, but I will do my best. So basically at this stage with this drawing, you know, if I want to change something or if I want to tweak something, it's kind of a pretty decent size overhaul. So we'll see what's up. Hip. Oh wait. I messed up. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Nobody panic. Oh, painting number 2. Dude, it's going really well. I actually just wrapped it up before I started up the stream here. I will be sharing that on Instagram at ArtofHF. No, it turned out really good. It's funny, I'm working, basically the working process is, I'm doing a monochromatic big piece and then a full color small piece. And, you know, I'm drawing a bunch of stuff, like, I've never been good at drawing little kids and environments and things like that. I'm okay at it. I'm good enough that, you know, someone's not going to cancel me on a job. I can just work really hard at it. But, you know, I just kind of want to draw a bunch of kids in the woods using their imaginations with wood and, like, rebar and concrete and sticks and cardboard and all that kind of stuff. And it's coming along. I'm also getting a bunch of new, hold on, there we go. Whoop. I'm also getting a whole bunch of new, is that where I wanted that to go? Yeah, just about. I'm also getting a whole bunch of new, supplies in soon. So that should be nice. Alright, so if I'm going to put that there, it is time to... By the way, Tristan, thanks for being cool and letting me do this on the stream. That's really neat. Don't get me wrong, I would have gladly worked on it off stream, but I think it's fun to kind of document the process as I go, you know? Plus, this is going to be a cool piece once I finish with it. Giant dragon warrior and, like, plate mail with a one-handed whip sword. Like, kind of screams like, hey, check me out, I'm awesome. I think what I'd like to do is tweak that. There we go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to... This probably will now... Yeah. Let me see what else. I need to do just this a little bit, just to like try bicep up in there. No, you're not irritating me, man. I think this is delightful. Honestly, so whenever you're working on a commission or a professional piece or what have you, part of the challenge becomes feedback. Feedback's super important. Super duper freaking important. So having a system where I can have someone like live comment on it and spend time sitting over my shoulder and then taking a look at what I'm doing and being respectful about it, like that's a gold standard. So don't worry, you're not upsetting me on any single level. Plus, man, this is your commission. I will say this: if I was going to get annoyed by the process, I'd probably tell you very quickly, but I'm not. I want this to have a kind of lean to it. Yeah. This layer, I think. Nope. Found it. There you are. Hey. Figure out a way to adjust that. But for now. Okay, we're gonna. So, I say pretty commonly, honestly, once I get certain aspects of the design down, oh yeah, that's right. Once I get certain aspects of the design down, typically things start running pretty smoothly at that stage. So yeah, like if the stream goes down, that doesn't mean the art goes down, which is good. Oh my god. There we go. Trust me, the worst I've ever had that happen. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah, the thing. So you can actually set up Photoshop that'll autosave your file every 5 or so, or 10 or 20 or whatever amount of time that you want on it. But it'll save every couple of minutes or so just to make sure like your stuff isn't exploding and gone forever. But yeah, since the design's already kind of been done, you know, it doesn't take long for me to figure out how to kind of fill in the gaps where I need to. Plus, not to mention, right now, I've been drawing more than I ever freaking have in the past. Well, not ever, but I'm drawing more right now than I have in the past year or so. And it's a great thing. Unbelievably great thing. But, this music's adorable, and I dig it. But yeah, I'm super up to stuff right now. zero concern if something actually goes down. Let me do a little tweak here. There we go. That's a good question, Tristan. So, sorry, I know I'm making a lot of like freaked out noises here, but that's weird. Aha! That's what I need to do. So, one of the skills I've developed over the years, Tristan, is, and thanks for the question. For any of you who can't see the question he asks, it's when it comes to coloring, how do you remember all the intricacies of the line art? Because I work a little differently. I do a rough sketch and then I color over the rough sketch and then I do the line art last. I don't know. The intricacies of the line art are kind of embedded in my head to a certain degree. Like, a skill I've always had is being able to take a piece and take a character and visualize it, and especially after I've gotten a chance to do some sketching on it. After I've gotten a chance to do some sketching on it, it definitely goes up a notch too. Oh, that's what's happening. Here we go. Okay. Alright. So, none of these characters are too far out of my mind, and so, you know, once I get the coloring work down, you know, or once I get the line art down, or at least a rough sketch, you know, I know where a lot of these details are, even if they're rough. Like, you know, these hands are kind of a big blob right now. I can tell the detail, like I know that's a knuckle, that's a knuckle, that's a knuckle, that's finger, 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 finger. But I know how I'm going to render this. I know how it's going to take shape. I've just been doing this for 10 years plus. So it's just kind of understanding my method, my process, and how things lay out in my mind, and trusting that I knew at some point what I was doing with the design itself. And typically at that stage, like once I learn to kind of trust myself, or, you know, if I want to make a change, I know I can make it too. Pretty confident. So it's not really a concern if, you know, in the coloring stages I go off the lines. As long as I'm kind of close, I know I can make up the differences and make changes as I go. Oh yeah, so the fluff art. Yeah, I don't know, that was just, you know, that's a rough sketch, and I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's almost like a writer knowing, like looking back at their work and editing certain chunks of pages. Like they know the beats and where the story is and how things work out, so if they need to make changes, they can. It's like I drew that stick in Fluff's hair, and I knew where that stick was. I knew what the original intention of it was, so it made it a little easier to work on. Did I delete the rough layer? I don't think I did. I might have. Well, looks like I'm fabricating stuff out of nothing. Okay, I'm gonna assume this belt is going to go all the way around. This chest piece is there, then probably he's going to have a bit of a shirt bit. It's also probably going to have armor that came off here, if I remember right. Knowing myself, I'd probably give him a strap right here. Also, it is closed, so it's got a seam to it. Alright, so if it's up to me, I'm going to throw in where his actual cape and wing are going to pop over there. I really like the shape of the wings back here to a certain degree. I think I need to separate these two out just a tiny bit. I think that is a pretty vast improvement personally. Oh, yeah, scuba gear. You know what we're gonna do? Because I like the general shape. We're gonna keep that, and we're just gonna change how the detailing works. So keep with the theme. I'm gonna do what I like to call the World of Warcraft notch. Anyone who's watching the stream, if they played World of Warcraft, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All the armor has those notches. And I kind of want to do that too. I think I have some World of Warcraft fan art that I did like years ago. Okay, a little bit better on the belt buckle there, Tristan. You might have fallen asleep because I'm pretty sure where you are, it's like 5 in the morning. Do I imbue them with the personality of people I know? I give them all a personality. Like, I don't know, this guy kind of developed his own, which is unique. He reminds me of that Simpsons meme where it shows Principal Skinner, and he's looking down his nose at things, and he goes, pathetic. So I've got that a little bit in my mind, but you know, I can tell you pretty sincerely who I think this guy is. I can see him being, you know, he's protective and supportive, but he's also stern. Like, he's gonna be making sure that the party stays on track and doesn't, like, vary off path and all that kind of stuff. Almost to a fault, you might say. But, yeah, most of the characters I've ever worked on have personalities. Like, as an example, any wander or logo symbol. Where could I put a Wander logo on him? I'm trying to think. Where would be a good spot for that? Yep, that's where. Yeah, that looks a lot better in my mind. But yeah, I'll tell you honestly, I think most of the Wanderers have a personality based off certain characters. Like, I think Roland's based off of me. Younger me, not older me. Older me is smarmy and grumpy. Better now, I got married, so that helped. But Tank was kind of a mixture of some of my friends that I've had before and kind of also a father figure type. Kira, I don't know, Kira's kind of an amalgamation of a couple of my friends as well, who, I mean, Kira's a smartass, there's no other way of putting it. Like, she is, she's going to say what she thinks, and she's going to have a sense of humor about it, and you better deal. She's very strong-willed. I think young Roland is me, and I think Ibexus is also me, because I absolutely can be a grumpy Gus, and that is what Ibexus is. So I'm just realizing that. It's fantasy. They didn't have fitting belts anytime. So I'll do something like this. Hip. Oh, this dude will wreck you. Good God. You know, I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, and Tristan, the Wanderers logo, or the Wanderers Guild logo, is going to be right here. So it's going to be kind of under the Batwing. It's going to be where the pauldron kind of connect to the main armor. It'll be small, but it'll be there. Or, alternatively, could find a way to integrate it like... Oh yeah, that'd look cool if it was in the hip armor. I have to do a little adjustment. Yeah. But yeah, I think you can take a wild guess who John the Bard's personality is based off of. God, this dude's detailed. Alrighty, let's boogie. So I think we're at a pretty good stage to start applying some color. Tristan, did you have any core colors you had in mind for this? I mean, I can just start fabricating stuff, but you know. Nothing says happy drawing time like Jack Black. Oh, is that the person? Oh, yeah, John the Bard. Actually, no, John the Bard's based off of Jonathan Phillips Bradford, my business partner, who is basically Jack Black. It's like if Jack Black vapes. Yeah, that would be it. So let's bring this back up, shall we? Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. Alright, Tristan, power question. Color schemes. What you got in mind, man? Purple dragon, armor was white with gold trim, and I was thinking maybe blue for the claw. Yeah, alright. So, white armor with gold trim's totally doable. White armor is... It's not going to be pure white. Oh, School of Rock. Yeah, I could see that. That'd be funny. John the Bard's School of Rock. So the armor's not going to be pure white. It's gonna kind of be an off-white kind of pearl color, and we're going to be able to add white to it after the fact. So it'll still be white armor. It'll just have a bit of a tone to it. So I'm actually getting a chance to render it and whatnot. All right, so let's give ourselves a background here. I don't know what all those layers are, but I'm gonna hide them. Boop. Alright, I don't know what this music is, but Sexy Jazz needs to calm down here. There we go. A little bit better. Yeah, that's a big, big improvement. JPEG, Commission, work in progress. Call this work in progress too. Yay. Alright, now if it's up to me, I'm going to go dark with the background. Ooh, too dark. Multiply. Yeah. Notch this back down. We are going to start applying some color. So, I'm going to start working on the armor first, just because I got a clear idea of what that's going to look like. I'm going to guess that probably blue. Said pearl, didn't I? Something along that tone. So like I said, Tristan, don't worry, this is just a base. Oh, it's one of those neighborhood doggos boofing. Gray background is back. Yes, it is. So fun fact, I might as well be an old man because my eyes hurt when I stare at white screens all day long. Like I have a pair of blue blocker glasses in right now. I know you just heard the degree of nerd I am skyrocket, but deal with it. But yeah, I have blue blocker glasses in, and I need them so my eyes don't explode and die. Actually, I am prone to ocular migraines where I lose half of my vision for like 45 minutes if my eyes get too stressed out, so, you know, trying to take care of myself. I mean, hell, I'm turning 34 in a couple months here, so I'll take care of myself. Also, oh no, I broke the illusion of how old I am. I'm gonna say this is right. Well, fun fact is, I think coloring on this should actually go pretty quick because I only have so many colors I'm going to be dealing with. Yeah, it's dude, losing your vision mid-migraine is about one of the scariest experiences I've ever had. So here's the thing, I don't want to make some stupid claim like, oh, artist vision's way more important than normal people vision. I mean, basically, if 2 or 3 things go wrong, my like entire career's over. Like if I lose my eyesight, or if my like right hand gets jacked up. Luckily I have a left hand, so that works. But in general, we try and dodge like, you know, things that involve hand injuries, eye injuries, things like that. But yeah, over the past couple of years, I've had a couple of ocular migraines that have literally debilitated me to the point where I couldn't even like drive a car. My wife knows, she was there for one of them. It's fun times. Truth be told, I don't think it's, you know, I went and saw a doctor and talked to him about it, and I think it was one of those, like, just don't deal with screens as much. And I used to be ambidextrous. Back when I was a kid, I used to do something funny where I started my name with my left hand, and then I finished it with my right hand. And when I was a kid, teachers forced you to be, if you were left-handed, that was fine, but if you were ambidextrous, they would force you to be either right or left-handed, which is a bummer. I would have loved to have been artistically capable in both hands, but here we are. So no, I am not ambidextrous. I wish I was. I will say this, if I ever lose the ability to draw my right hand, I will learn how to draw my left hand. It will be physically painful because I'll have years of experience and no real, what's the best way to put this? I'll have years of experience, but I'll have no real muscle memory, so it'll be like a bunch of trying to catch up to where I was skill-wise with the knowledge I have now. Also, this music is fun. I feel like I'm in that Disney movie, Wreck-It Ralph, with the candy racers. Taffeta Mutton Fudge and Swizzle Malarkey, i.e. some of the greatest character names I've ever freaking heard. Alright, we're just filling corners here. You know what's funny? He will have white armor, but I think, oh, you cried in that movie? Dude, some of those moments are heartbreaking. When he breaks her freaking car, God. Dude, I think the first 5 minutes of Up made everyone cry. Like, anyone with a heart. Told a better love story in Twilight in 5 minutes than the entire movie series. Not trashing Twilight if there's any hardcore fans out there. Although, let's all agree that first movie was trash. I know as a werewolf fell in love with the character because of her future child or something. I don't know. This is why I try not to worry about freaking romances and Wander, because I feel like it opens up the entire thing to an entire myriad of issues. If people want to put them in relationships, cool. You guys have fun. I will be refraining from doing so myself. You know what? I'm just going to make these entire things white. I'm just remembering when a buddy of mine from college who was an industrial design major, so like, you know, toasters. You know what? That's a misnomer. He designed a lot of cool stuff. He actually worked on like user interface things a whole bunch. He found it really fascinating, like how many like clicks does it take to get from X to Y to Z. But industrial design also does like tractors and some vehicles and a lot of objects. It's pretty cool. Anyways, he was super mechanical with most things he did. And I remember one day we were watching WALL-E, and dude, I've never seen that dude cry about anything ever. And then he's sitting there tearing up over WALL-E, and I was just like, dude, I'm pretty sure you could have watched Bambi's mom get shot and just be like, eh. WALL-E, man. WALL-E got him. Got him good. Okay, I was the Kickstarter process been from Shovel Knight? Basically, once the Kickstarter closes for a campaign, depending on how prepared you were, which we were pretty well prepared, we got, I actually think I'm done with the white layer. Neat. We, basically were closing in, like we were almost ready for production. And then with all the stuff we had to add to the rulebook, that took a while, and the coronavirus gave it a giant hit, and you know, it's been more complicated than I would have liked to admit. We're gonna probably get the thing into production soon. It's just like we had some technical stuff we had to figure out last minute. Basically, the long story short of it is, it's been pretty intense. You know, we added a lot of stuff to that Kickstarter. You know, we raised $220,000 on the actual campaign. So, yeah, just more complicated than I would have liked it to be is the ultimate answer. Also, I know we're giving him gold armor for a fact, but gold is interesting in the fact that it is not any single, like you can't just like throw yellow on a guy. Gold is a mixture of yellow, brown, and orange, so when it comes down to it, oh yeah, that's right, this whole thing's gonna be gold. So when it comes down to it, a lot of this design is gonna start off dark ultimately, because I'm gonna probably just render the ever-living crap out of it. So long story short, don't worry, I know it looks really dark right now. I promise you that if you trust in the process, you will see what I have eventually planned. Oh man, I am screwing up, and it is okay. Oh yeah, that's right, I made this hit plate, so it's like industrial. Hate using yellows on minis. Dude, I get it. Well, it's interesting. So, like, let's say we had a big gold coin here. Oh, there we go. Let's say you had a big yellow coin here. Basically, how I would approach this is, like, we're starting from the darkest layer. Yellow's a tricky color, man. I'm about to do a monochromatic piece in yellow, so trust me, I get it. So let's say this is just a flat surface, right? So basically, things that are gold are made up of a variety of different colors, all kind of interwoven into each other. So, oh my god, I get it. So basically, you know, you got oranges, you got yellows, you got all sorts of different colors that play into it in certain different ways. And you know, I'm going speed of light here, so. Actually, you know what? I think I need more of this. Yeah. A little bit more active on the gold front, and yeah, gold's interesting. Anyways, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was applying dark layer to it all. It's actually funny, working between digital painting and traditional painting is that, like, I'm realizing that digital painting has so many little, like, life improvement things. Like, quality of life improvements, I would say. Kind of like when you play a video game, like that's 3rd or 4th in the series, and they add some really cool stuff to it, like Dark Souls. Basically, the fact that I can work in layers, the fact that I can control the color in those layers. If I wanted to, I could just have an infinite amount of like space to do things. It's really nice from a creative standpoint, but it's also been really fun doing traditional stuff just from the limiting factors that I have to like put myself into. You know, I have to work on this canvas, it has to be at this scale, I have to paint or draw or do whatever at a certain skill level and at a certain size, or else the process is probably going to get jacked up. I've enjoyed it though. I really freaking have, and I hope to do way more of it. Yep. Oh yeah, there's, well, no, there absolutely is zooming. It's just called picking it up and bringing it closer to your face. Right. Oh, this boy's gonna have a lot of gold on him. And that is okay. I always think gold is a really interesting, fun color to use if you're working on fantasy characters. But also it tells me a lot about that character too. It's like they care about their armor, they care about their appearance. They're trying to be a symbol, but also they're trying to let the enemy know, I'm here, I'm not afraid of you, and I'm absolutely not freaking hiding. Which I've always thought is interesting. The dynamics and the moral dilemma of a fantasy hero are fascinating. The fact that every D&D party is just a set of murder hobos going from town to town asking random strangers really intense questions. So calm it down, man. That's what we need to do. You know what? We're going to cut around that. This is like the weirdest upbeat clown music I've heard. I'm debating if I want the claws to be gold too. Tristan, what do you think? You want the claws to be gold? So that's a very interesting question. Tristan, you're way too good at asking questions, man. You're blowing my mind here. Yes is the short answer. So I've rendered. Oh, I know what I was gonna do. I've rendered characters before where I threw on a bunch of I got way too detailed on clothing. Way too detailed on clothing. And I'm not talking armor. Armor's different. But I just absolutely murdered. Like, there's a certain thing with clothes where I'm learning the line art is almost secondary. Like, it's more about how you render clothes. Because clothes do have folds and sharp lines and shapes and all that kind of stuff. But, I think it's in a different sense. But yeah, I found that the older I'm getting, the more I'm trying to less chisel clothes out of stone and more remember that they're fabric, there's something that flow. It sounds kind of stupid and simple, but you know, when you're drawing, you get kind of caught up and you figure out how to do one thing good. And then you forget that everything else doesn't need to be rendered in a similar way. And then all of a sudden you're drawing everything. You know, when I learned how to render metal, I was like, this is incredible. And then I started rendering everything like it was metal. And that just wasn't good. It didn't work. It didn't look good. And, sorry, I gotta do a little hopper here. But, yeah. But then with clothes, you know, I realized that it's a lot softer, it's a lot more malleable, let's say. And, once I got to that point and really found a way to enjoy rendering clothing, it changed a lot of that for me. And the problem I had before was I was from a comic book background, so when I was rendering clothing, it was like I was chiseling this stuff out and I was having to draw every single little line, and the truth of the matter is that clothing's going to do what it's going to do. It's incredibly hard to draw, and learning how to do it is absolute skill. And absolute skill. It took me a long time to do it, and I think I'm decent at it. Also, that is the death of all artists when they think they're actually good at something, so oh boy. Sorry, as my wife would say, I'm getting in a big way here. Someone adding lots of flowers to a dress. By flower, like 30, they're regretting doing it. Oh yeah, are you talking about like... I think maybe the tips of the claws, the tips of the claws could be gold, but like the finger guard could be white. I think that'd look pretty nice. Based on what I've done so far. So when you say someone was painting flowers, are you talking about on a mini? Or like an actual physical illustration? Yeah. Nah, son. I mean, as an artist, there's certain things I don't like doing. I don't like drawing bricks. I don't like drawing flower. Or I do enjoy painting flowers. I don't like drawing bricks or feathers or each individual little scale, or it's just a point where if you start doing that, you have to do all of them. If you're drawing a field of flowers and you paint an entire batch of them, well, guess what? You have to finish painting a batch of them. So every single flower, every single blade of grass. God help you. Oh, illustration. Yeah, that's a lot. But some people, it just depends, man. Like, some people dig that. Some people really like the kind of nitty-gritty micro detail of painting that stuff in. I mean, I could speak about Liz's work, where I've seen her do, and I'm talking about Elizabeth Beckley, the miniature painter for Kingdom Death and Wander and Pinnacle Games, other projects, which there are many. Yeah, I've seen Liz do freehand stuff, and it like blows my mind. But there's just an attention to detail that goes into that stuff that's insane. Oh, and drawing things like flames. That is very, very dependent on what I'm doing. Like, if someone just pointed at me and said, "Hey, draw flames," I'd be like, "No, go die." But it just depends, man. Like, if someone wanted me to draw a city on fire, I probably would not enjoy it. I'd do it, but probably wouldn't. You know, fire is a tricky thing to paint because it's so alive and subjective, and, you know, everyone can paint it in a different way. And all I know is fire is one of those things that if you paint well, it looks really good. But you got to paint it really well, because if you don't, if you paint it like decently, everyone's going to see and everyone's going to know. Like, fire is one of those things that's an effect that people are automatically going to be drawn to see if you did it well. And if you don't do it well, they're all going to be like, "Oh, well, this is pretty good. The fire looks okay." But it's like, it's a catch-22, man. You can't win. All right, let me see. Are we at a stage where I can start coloring this stuff in? I believe so. Oh no, I missed that whole thing. Hold on. Oh yeah. Sort of flames. Yep, exactly. I don't even think I did that good of a job on that one, to tell you the truth. But, you know, it's all part of the fun. I've had a very fortunate career where... Hold on a second. Ah, that's why. I had a very fortunate career where I've had people willing to give me chances on things, willing to let me like try and experiment with coloring or painting or all this other stuff, and it's been unbelievably fortunate. So I've had chances like live getting paid on jobs to like draw stuff, and I mean that just doesn't happen. So like Flaming Sword of Flames is a great example. Like, you know, I wasn't great at drawing giant flaming bits and pieces of things, but I got the opportunity to. Oh yeah, he's gonna have a lot of gold coming off of him. It's gonna look freaking sweet. So we're gonna get that. Gonna get that. Oh, that's part of my problem. My flow was turned down. Modify, expand. Oh, loot. Yeah, man, I struggled. I'm not gonna lie about it. Yeah, sometimes loot is not easy to come up with because, you know, there's thousands of sword designs and axe designs and all this other stuff, but it's like weapons and items and stuff are funny because there's so many different ways to do it. It almost becomes overwhelming. And then, like, by the time you finally come up with something, it's like, is this even unique anymore? Or, like, you know, history's got so many interesting things. There's, like, axes with guns connected to them. Like, that's a real thing. And, you know, when we were working on Wonder, oh, Lord, sorry. We were working on Wonder, you know, we were kind of trying to come up with all these different wild ideas for things, and you know, it just kind of got to a point where it's like I can't come up with every single little thing. But eventually we had enough wild ideas between us, between Jonathan and I working on things, that it turned out. That's what I was doing. Okay. Yeah, that'll help separate those out. Oh yeah, the flotation device. That was funny. Well, the idea was like an Elder Bane floaty just was the most adorable thing on the planet. So we were like, all right, all the ridiculous items, we had an infinite amount of time or an infinite amount of fun to actually come up with that stuff. Like the flaming sword of flames and the nunchucks were hilarious. Easy to draw, but so much fun to come up with. Yeah. Okay, so that's a lot of white and a lot of gold. Let's let me see what I want to work on next. I'll go blues. Yeah. Oh, sounds like the music stopped. Gonna go check that out real quick. Yes, continue watching. Thank you. By the way, thanks for sticking around, Tristan. I appreciate it. I mean, I'd do this thing if I had 0 viewers just to have kind of like a recording of me doing this, but it's nice to have company doing it too. Also, on that note, if anyone listens to this after the fact, please make sure to like and subscribe to my videos and stuff. I'm streaming during the quarantine. I'm streaming 3 days a week, or not 3 days a week, 2 days a week on Thursdays and Tuesdays and Thursdays, and from 1 to 4 p.m. I'm sure once the quarantine ends, that'll change to maybe once a week on weekends, like Saturday or something, but you know, we'll see what's up. Just depends on how my workload is going, depends on how much work I can get done. They still do afternoon stuff, we'll see. Typically, alright, so typically when I'm coloring, here's how the breakdown goes. Is I kind of color big patches of things first. And I'll try and do all of one color, so like, right now I'm doing all the blue. Or I was handling all the white and then I handled all the gold. So basically I just pick a color and stick with it for a while to try and fill in the gaps where I can. Then from there, after I figured out like which color I want to tackle, it's basically like what's the biggest space to fill up first. So all characters generally have a core color or even a color combination that is applied to them. So, you know, this guy, he's gold, white, and blue. That's the basics of it. And you know, I kind of want to focus on where I want to put those big important colors first and then move on from there. Or if it's like really important, like I think the actual skin tone of this guy is going to be a pretty big deal. I'll focus purely on that at the end just because it's going to be important enough that it needs full attention. Like right now I'm just going. Because, you know, I don't have to think about every little thing that's happening right now. But when I get to that end, yeah, trust me, I'm going to focus super hard on it. Actually, I think there will be some blue there. Maybe here too. I hope this idea I had pays off. Yeah, I get it, man. What? There we go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if this is your character you want to get designed out, yeah, 100%. You gotta plot your stuff out pretty well. I mean, I design characters for a living, so part of it is kind of mechanical to me to just start switching around and doing things and making changes on the fly. So it's a little less sacred to me, unless it's like a character I absolutely love, like the Wanderers, Tank Kira, you know, the guys from the core game. Those dudes are near and dear to my heart. So I'm pretty careful about how I represent them. And, but at the same time, I'm not afraid to play with some colors. But if this is your guy, your dude, your representation, then yeah, absolutely, he needs to be the right colors. Actually, we're making really good progress. I mean, you know, we've laid down a lot of the colors here. I think when I was working on Roland the other day, it was taking me a long while. But also, these things have a tendency to kind of surprise you. Alright, have you listened to the same song 3 times? Right, I've got to get this to something else. Oh my god, it did just play the same song 3 times in a row. How dare it? Okay. So what is after this piece? For the stream or just in general for me? Depends. For the stream, I have 1 or 2 ideas. For personal work, I have a couple of different ideas. For Panda Cult, I have an absolute firm list of what I need to get to next. Which I'm probably going to be doing after I finish your piece. I'm probably going to be doing probably Panda Cult stuff. We'll see. I've got there's a lot. So LeClock is something we've been working on. Like, I've done the sketches. I've got pretty much all the base character sketches done. I haven't colored any of them or done anything like that, but base sketches are complete. And I just got to figure out, like, the title graphic, how that's going to look like, because the Barnacle Bay one is pretty involved. So, painting-wise, I probably could do license work on Steam. There's nothing in Shovel Knight for me to do. All that work is pretty much, all the artwork's done. I didn't create, outside of graphics, I didn't create anything for that, so. But no, if anything's licensed, I don't know. Generally, I'm probably not going to be doing much licensed anything. Like, I could draw the X-Men if I wanted to. I mean, it's just me doing artwork for fun. Let me see. I think that's most of the blue done. Hold on. Excuse me. Oh, yeah. Alright, hold on. There's something I need to do. I completely missed a spot. Select, modify, expand, 3. Yeah, fair use. By the way, welcome to the stream, Paul. Um, yeah, it's interesting because I think like I could technically, if someone paid me to do a commission of Wolverine from Marvel, I could do that, and they wouldn't come after me. I think if I tried to, like, let's say draw my own X-Men comic and sell that, then yeah, they're gonna rake me over the coals on that one. So I think it's all very dependent. Let me see. I think it's time to work on some leather. Actually, what I may do is do a little quick tweak. Well, I mean, that's fair. It does depend on a lot of different factors. I think guys behind comic books have a pretty good relationship with the art community in the sense of working on stuff. I think it just really depends. Like, you know, there's nothing saying you can't make a Marvel commission of Storm, but if you wanted to make a Storm comic, then that's different, because that's you drawing a singular piece of artwork for someone. They're not going to go after it because it's kind of chump change and it's not a big enough deal. I think the only time I've ever seen them come after a guy for commission work is when that guy was ripping off artists. Actually, I had a guy rip off a piece I did in college that he was doing commission stuff for. But he was ripping off artists and eventually got a cease and desist from Marvel because he was being a bit of an a-hole. Let me see. I think what I'd like to do is work on his undershirt. Which I think I'm gonna make kind of medium beige for now. I'm not gonna lie, I've had people tell me I was gonna get sued on X, Y, or Z for something, and there's a certain degree of where it's like, if someone wants to sue me over something I've done, then there's not a lot I can do to stop someone from doing that. But the legality behind a lot of this stuff is really, really interesting. Yeah, Disney's probably one of the few groups that's going to enforce every single little tiny thing that they do, so that's fair. Yeah, had someone tell me Disney was going to sue me at some point or another. That was a fun day. Of course, did that happen? No. think what I'd like to do is make his pants a little bit more in the brown territory. They're trying to... Wow, alright, cool. Of course they're trying to. Dude, companies try and, like... They try and, copyright, the, like, colors. And some of them have succeeded. Some of them have said, this color is trademarked as it is a brand recognition thing. I think that's crazy. I think... I can kind of get it. Like, if you trademarked... Like, let's say you had a company that had a very specific visual that was involved in a color. I could almost see trademarking something and being like, well, you can't... Other companies can't use this color in this shape. Well, there's plenty of other shapes and plenty of other colors. That's fine. So, fun fact, CMON, when they do character things like that, or any American company, when they create a version of a character, let's say you're making a game and you want a Terminator-style character, and you basically draw the character as, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Terminator. How it works is that you can do that as long as you do not call it Arnold Schwarzenegger or the Terminator. If you call it like Future Killer Machine, basically the laws in the US work in a way that it's called parody. So that character you're not going to get raked over the coals over because it's considered parody. I think those pants are too dark. I'm going to warm them up. So yeah, those are protected under parody laws. Now, I know a company in the UK that did a version of a character of, I think, Felicia Day. And, dude, they did not have it, because the UK straight up is going to just, like, ban you. Because they do not have the same copyright laws and protections that we do here. So, the second they drew a character and got a cease and desist, boom, game over. I'm debating on this undershirt color. Oh, thanks, Russ. Over to the chat. That's sketchy. That's sketchy, Paul. I dig it. Tell you what, I want to get to doing some of the leather bits on this guy real quick. I'll tell you honestly, I'm having some second guesses about my shirt color. I may change that before this is all said and done, as I am well within my right to do. Unless Disney comes in here and sues me. Put that there. Rest of that's going to be cloth and wrinkles and things like that. I'm going to say that's probably a belt or thing. Ah man, this is one of my favorite parts, is when you start realizing how fast, because I've covered up all these other layers, it's almost like I have a guide, so I can just fill in things. Yes. Oh yeah, dude, this is gonna look cool once it's all said and done. Big shout out to Tristan, who gave me the chance to work on a commission. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun to do so far. Anyone else is interested in a commission, you can shoot me a message. Where does the tabard start? So I imagine tabards typically are like, let me see. Like, let's say you've got a character. Say this is his waist and this is his legs. I generally imagine tabards are almost like something you put over. It's a tiny belt. And then it goes like this. So it almost comes all the way up to here and carries on. So it's almost like they're covering a thing. So what I could almost do is make this shirt much darker blue. Yeah, that looks good. That's the way to do it. Alright, figured it out. Don't worry about it, guys. I got it. Yeah, that looks good. He's turning out so cool. Oh, I'm almost to, oh, I need to do leather glove. Let's make that a little bit of a lighter color, I think. That. It might be the same tone as a gold for now, but like I said, stick with me. Gold will make sense. Monster. There we go. And let's just go ahead and fill in all that. Oh, snap. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. There we go. Layer under this. Okie doke. Alright, let me see. It's starting to come together. Yeah. Oh god, that was terrible. Did we finish the wings? Kind of. Kind of is the most solid answer you're gonna get from me. I'm just kidding. Basically, we just kind of doodled them out, but I'm pretty sure if I apply some color to them, it's gonna look fine. Just the wings, as it's coming around his shoulders, that's going to be the big signifier that they're there, but I think really they're going to be more of a background element than anything else. Tell you what, I'm going to give this dude a blue leather handle to his giant whip sword. It depends, exactly. I'm like a lawyer. Anyways, he's looking cool. I'm digging it so far. I think the purple will be a nice push against the gold too. Well, Tristan, do you want the sword to be any kind of weird colors, or do you want me to kind of keep it in theme with the overall coloring? I'm fine either way. Like, do you want the sword to be acid green and glowing? Do you want it to be a regular sword color? Because, I mean, basically what I can do is make, like, the, I'll probably make the handle gold. Probably make the handle gold. And we'll figure out the blade. In my mind, I almost want to make it... I don't know. Probably just some kind of neutral gray for the short term. Dude, sword matching the armor. It would make sense. Not gonna lie. Oop. Messed up. Well, I mean, short term, I'm just gonna apply color to it. And we can always decide on what that wants to be later. You know, this isn't set in stone. Luckily, it's a digital file, so it's Photoshop, so I can just kind of make it up as I go, and if I want to change it, I can change it. You got to pray to Crom. Alright. That is a little light. Boom. Then, you know what I would like to do? I would like to... do something like that. And I can make it the same tone. Yeah, that looks cool. It's called the Ouch Bad Time Sword. Oh, I don't like him saying things. Nope, get out of here. Yeah, play me adorable ukulele songs. So YouTube doesn't copyright strike me on every single thing I do. Yay! You know what? We're gonna make his claws. Kind of this beige. Noise. Whoop, whoop. Slack, modify, expand, here's a he. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. That needs to be a thing. Eh. So here's the real question. Tristan, what color do you think his eyes would be? And I'm talking both his eyeball and his iris. Let me know what you think. Because I could make it white like the other Wanderers, or I could make it yellow. Oh yeah, I forgot I did this. We're gonna just combine all those, make that go away. Short term, we're gonna start working on some purples. So, fun fact about Wander. The eyes are one of the most important parts of it all. So, if you notice, all the characters kind of have a bit of a Disney aspect to them. Don't sue me, Disney. But they have a bit of a Disney aspect to them, and it's very purposeful. I grew up with Disney movies. I love them to death, so, you know. Also, I understand if this purple is not the purple you were thinking of, Bud, but I can change it very quickly. But yeah, the eyes are super important. It's kind of gives a character a soul to a certain degree. It's one of the things I like doing the most. It's just a little finishing detail. It's lawsuit time. I'm gonna say probably more purple, honestly. Yeah. Turquoise. Turquoise. I can do that. Man, I had some Nashville chicken tenders for lunch, and they are carrying me right now, and I'm very happy about that. Select, modify, expand, 3. Boop. Oh yeah, that purple dragon. By the way, sorry if I just like suddenly changed my perspective out of nowhere. I promise you I'm not trying to make everyone watching the stream vomit. All artists have a natural curve that their hands are good at hitting. And mine happens to need me sometimes to shift the entire canvas's perspective around. Oh wait, hold on. Here's the thing I need to know. There we go. Little detail I forgot in the drawing stage, but that's cool. We made it up in the color stage. Aw, yes. Aw, yes. Mother effing breadcrumbs. Turquoise. So let me see. All right, this music sounds like a little kid who's going to build his own or her own lemonade stand. This is a commercial waiting to happen. Like little kids squeezing lemons and putting it in a cup with water, and literally that's it. And then they have their parents try it, and the parents are like squinch up their face because the lemon is so sour. The kid doesn't realize that sugar's a thing. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want this to be. Got away. Let me see. I think what I'd like to do is turn those scales in the back into a darker purple. Oh. Something like that. This is a hedgehog dragon now. Modify, expand 3. Boop. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go in here and I'm going to imply there's some growths here. Just subtle. Just enough to kind of imply that it's hair to a degree that's not just starting from like a balding spot on his head. You know, that's a good question. How did Wander start? The name. Tell you the truth, it started from. I was thinking about. So I put it together in college, the actual first name behind this stuff. So Wander's, the name's been around for a while, but how it was applied, I always liked the idea, because in college I wanted to make a webcomic out of these characters I had come up with. And I was trying to think of a name, and I was trying to think of, you know, what do fantasy heroes do? You know, they wander around and find trouble and then solve said trouble. or in the case of D&D, murder people. So I really, really, really like the idea of like kind of taking this lighter approach to things, and it's like, instead of them like, I am an adventurer, let us go, ha. Instead, I really like this idea of like, adventuring is more about the journey, it's more about wandering around, and not listfully, but definitely going with a purpose. But you know, you wander from town to town, you wander here, you wander there, and I kept finding myself saying the same kind of phrase with it, wander, and I was like, you know what, that's what I'm going to call this series, is wander, because the idea is to wander. There's also a J.R.R. Tolkien quote that is, those who wander are never lost, and I've always loved that quote. I think I put it in the end of the actual book for Wander in the Cult of Barnacle Bay. So select, modify, expand 3. But yeah, I've just always really had kind of a sentimental connection to the idea of, you know, wandering around. I actually spent a couple weeks in Japan, and I really, really enjoyed my time out there. And one of the biggest things was I would get a chance to just wander around myself. Like to just kind of go and do my own thing. There's something so awesome about it. Like, I didn't have anyone holding my hand, I didn't have anyone watching me or anything like that. I could just go. And I enjoyed that freedom, and I enjoyed the ability to, you know, wander around. So it all kind of rooted from there. Plus, it sounds like a cool name for a guild too. The Wanderers. Like, they wander around and do stuff. Not like that 1950s Dion song where he's like, I'm the Wanderer. That dude. Great music. Definitely, as a young guy, had a problem with women. I'm just going to go ahead and say that, because dude constantly kept singing songs like Run Around Sue, and I'm like, he has a song about being the wanderer, and he's like going from town to town, and he doesn't have to stay with any one woman at a single time. But then he has a song where he's upset about a woman called Run Around Sue who's doing the same thing, and he's like, how dare she? And it's like, dude, get over yourself. Oh, so I was in downtown Tokyo. So I went to Akihabara. Oh god, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. We had a chance to go to Kyoto, but I didn't, because there was an interesting trip to Disneyland Sea. I should have gone to Kyoto. Disneyland Sea was neat, but it's also freaking Disneyland. We have one of those here. Hold on a second. No, I went to the Meiji Shrine in Akihabara, and we went to the Studio Ghibli Museum, and we went to like the used book. Oh, that's why I'm getting messed up. This guy's talking. Hold on a second. Let me take care of this. But no, mostly the trip was spent in Tokyo. But we got to see the Asakusa Temple and the Asakusa Temple and the Meiji Shrine, and a lot of that kind of stuff. And I mean, it was an incredible trip. I loved every freaking minute of it. I'd love to go back and eventually revisit Kyoto, or not revisit, visit period Kyoto. See some traditional architecture. That'd be super freaking cool. Oh, completely messed that up. That's fine. Oop. There we go. No, man, I love my time there. Akihabara was super cool too, because it was just like nerd central. 3-story arcades, all the like fun things you'd ever want to buy. It's all there. I, being a multi-100-pound, 6-foot-tall behemoth of a man compared to most of the Japanese. Yeah, they did not like me stomping around in their stores. I definitely got... So there's something in Japan where if you're... I think it's if you're a foreigner or a white guy, as was my case, which I was also a foreigner. I think basically if they don't want you in their store, they'll make an X with their arms, kind of like Black Panther. Except they do it as like a unification thing in that movie, whereas in Japan that means you are not allowed in here. And I got called Gaijin a couple of times, which means barbarian, which was fun. Yeah, so it was interesting. Gaijin, yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. If you guys instead of just getting married in Japan, why did I cut that line there? Oh yeah, that's right, because there's a leather thing. Getting married in Japan I wouldn't recommend, but having your honeymoon in Japan would be pretty rad. Maybe not right now. We were actually supposed to take our honeymoon to Ireland right about now. And look how that turned out. But, you know, can't complain. We are healthy, we are in love, things are going great, so. Was there any little bits I've forgotten about so far? Doesn't look like it, but I've been wrong before. Okay, I'm gonna work on the eye. Oh, Jesus. Knees. Gaijin. Oh. I kind of don't blame them for calling me a Gaijin, though. I mean, I literally came into their place and was just like stomping around and buying things on the wrong floors of the wrong buildings and, you know, generally causing havoc. Let me see. You know, I've heard New Zealand is amazing. Just absolutely beautiful countryside. I'm also a Lord of the Rings nerd, and I know New Zealand isn't just Lord of the Rings. It's also Flight of the Conchords. It's some balance between those two. Just kidding. Just kidding. Don't hate me, Tristan. But no, I've always wanted to go. It'd be cool. I don't know if my body could handle that plane flight, because that thing's a monster, isn't it? So you said teal. Let's do something like that. 2 12-hour flights to get to the UK? Oh, no. That is brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. Good lord. Okay, well, I think we're closing in. Although I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wanna. Yeah. You know, eventually work on some kind of horn gradient. Do something real quick here. Just for my own sake, let's do a little work on all of this stuff. I think it's pretty good progress for now. I'm gonna get rid of that. Boop. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me for now. I know it looks a little dark. That will be fixed, I promise. Let me notch this up a little bit. Let's see, 35. All right, Tristan, thoughts? Love it, hate it, burn it all down from the ground up. I get it, man. Trust me. Do you understand why I work in gray now? It's so much more convenient. Awesome, dude. Well, I've actually got some stuff I've got to get to. So I may cut the stream a little short today. Just because this is really good progress, and I'm not sure. Because the next stage of this is doing line art, and line art is, unlike with the Roland one I did, line art is going to take a long time. I imagine. I don't know. We'll see. But I've got some things I do have to take care of that are a little important, and hopefully that's all right, Trist. We're making really good progress so far. So I think I'm going to cut short today. Hopefully no one's heartbroken about that. But it's been a good day. We've gotten a lot done. We've produced a lot, which I think is pretty snazzy. I'm going to save this sucker out as flat color. Ooh. Oh wait, did I save it as a... I did save it as a PSD. My bad. Yeah. always think it's really fun to see these things actually work in progress. But I think that is... Yeah, man, you're welcome. This is your commission. This is how this operates. Yeah, of course. Thanks for being on the stream and keeping me entertained, man. I really do appreciate it. You're all good, man. Alright, well, I think that's where I'm going to cut it to you guys. For any of you watching or who have watched today, thank you guys so much for doing it. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow me. I'm on Twitch at Heathosaurus Art. So HeathaSaurus Art. You can find my stream on there. I've also got Facebook as Art of HF, so facebook.com/artofhf. I have also an Instagram at artofhf. Yeah, guys, just keep track. I'll make sure to load this up there today, and also I'll be loading up the acrylic paintings I've been doing there on Instagram as well. But yeah, this has been great. I'm really glad I could make the tweaks and changes to this. Tristan, I think it looks a lot better than it did at the beginning of the day. Yes, of course, be excellent to each other. Stay home, wash your hands, be safe. I'm in Georgia, so, you know, things are going to start opening up soon. I plan on staying home still, but, you know. Anyways, have a good one out there, guys, and until next time, which is going to be Thursday from 1 to 4 p.m., take it easy.